Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the Storytime Society. I'm so happy you're here. I'm so glad you're alive. I'm your host Jamie, and today's episode is themed icky yicky husbands, or shall I say icky vicky husbands, if you know what I mean. Fairly Odd Parents reference. Um, let's get straight into the stories. The first story is titled, My Husband's Girlfriend Lives with Us and They Want to Do This Forever. Hi everyone. So my husband, male 33, and I, female 34, have been together for 12 years and married for 7. We also have a kid who is 2. My husband has been open about the fact that some of his previous relationships were poly, and we have always been open to general ethical non-monogamy. For example, we used to go to sex parties together, and other examples. Fast forward to about 6 months ago when a friend of his came to the end of her marriage and quite urgently needed somewhere to stay, so we took her in. That was all well and good at first, and they were very close, but so were the three of us. There were nights when we all slept in the same bed because she couldn't face sleeping on her own. There were also nights when my husband slept in the bed with her at my suggestion because, again, she couldn't handle sleeping alone, but I struggled to share the bed with the three of us because of space. However, the topic of poly did come up a bit further down the line as a genuine option, and so they started spending every Friday night together, and honestly, I was and am genuinely happy with this. This started as a nominally friends with benefit thing, but naturally progressed into a relationship. I honestly don't think I have an issue with him seeing her, but the problem I'm facing is that they want to live as a three forever, get a bigger house, and do this permanently. And I can't tell you why, but I'm really uncomfortable about permanently sharing my space like this. On the other hand, my husband's mental health has always been really bad, but since my meta has lived here and there have been more of us around, it has been a lot better. So I really don't want to take this away from him. Really, really don't want to. So I have to find some way towards happiness for myself in this. Even though I work from home and they both work out of the house, I never feel like I'm on my own anymore. Somehow, because whenever I look, there are reminders that it's the three of us now. So I just feel permanently not at ease in my own home, and I don't know how to get past that. Also, she really wants us to move houses so that we can have somewhere bigger, but also so that it doesn't feel like our house that she's living in rather than something we share as equals. And I really don't want to transition to having potentially less time with my husband than I do now. At the moment, he's in my bed 4 nights a week, in her bed for 2 nights, and then we share the bed one night, all three of us. We bought a bigger bed so that we could do this. It has to be said, I really like my meta a lot of the time, and one of my hopes is that if she and I work on our relationship and get closer, this will get easier for me. But at the moment, I'm losing the home I thought I would grow old in, and I'm worried I'm losing half of my husband. I don't know what I'm looking for, but I'm so worried right now. Oh gosh. Well, you know what? I first of all have to say that obviously I'm glad you're happy, but what I'm kind of struggling with is if what is going on, because the way that you're saying everything and you're saying that you're happy and you're explaining that you're happy, and it sounds like you're happy with the situation and that you don't wish for anything to change, but then on the other hand you're also saying that you feel like you're losing your husband and all this stuff. So I'm just wondering what the solution here could possibly be, because you I don't know. You said it's fine sharing him, and he only stays with her 2 nights of the week, and then you guys all spend one night together, and you get him the other 4 nights or whatever. See, the thing is, I'm not a professional, and I also have zero experience in this type of relationship, and it's hard for me to relate because I would never be in a relationship like this, and I could never, and I just know that would never work for me. I'm a monogamous person, point blank. I don't think there's ever going to be a time in my life where I would ever want to be with a third person. And if that were something that my partner suggested, I think I would probably end the relationship because that's just not me. And I'm not saying that in like an I'm better than you way. I just know. I think everyone just has their preferences, right? And I think that's totally fine. But I know that wouldn't be healthy for me, and I can just never picture myself ever doing that. But obviously, if you're happy with it and it sounds like it's going well and you don't really have any worries, then I'm a little bit confused what you're worried about. You said you're worried about like losing half of your husband. You're also worried about losing the home, which makes sense and I understand completely. And I feel like if this is something that you like they are going to continue, I'm not really sure the dynamic between the two women though. Are they also in a relationship? Because it sounds like they aren't so much, but maybe she wants to be in a more of a relationship with her. I don't know. I'm kind of there is an update, so I'm excited to see maybe her dive in a little deeper onto the topic, but the first thing that I thought, and obviously this isn't sustainable, no, not sustainable. This isn't something that is for everyone or even like an option for everyone, but I'm thinking if you want your own space and you're still struggling with not having, is it, see, I don't even know what to say because I don't know if she's struggling with not having her own space and having her own individual time or if she's struggling with the fact that she doesn't have her husband every night of the week. That is what I'm a little bit confused about. So, how about we just read some comments and then we'll read the update and then maybe I can give a little bit more perspective? Okay. Some of the relevant comments. I can't tell you why, but I'm really uncomfortable about permanently sharing my space like this. And this person is responding to her saying that in the post. Not that you need a reason for not having someone else move into your home, but unless I'm reading this wrong, it seems like they kind of assumed it would happen instead of asking how you'd feel about a roommate. This also doesn't seem like a good idea, anyways. They've only been together for a short time, so not only would moving not be sound, but she just got out of a marriage. If you're worried about your husband needing to split time between you two, that is a reality of having multiple relationships. Is that something you feel you'd be okay with? Because this all just seemed to happen, and I'm wondering if you ever had time to truly consider if this is right for you. And then OOP said, I'm under a lot of pressure to make this work for me. My husband has not ever been truly happy in a long while, and having both of us around has transformed his mental health. I've expressed my worry that just swapping around which of us is unhappy isn't progress, even acknowledging that I'm not as unhappy as he was, but long term might I be? But there doesn't seem to be a middle ground that he can consider. I'm hoping some support from a poly friendly therapist will help us to articulate our needs and find a workable middle ground. And then someone said, your husband's happiness shouldn't be so dependent on everything cohabitating, to be honest. Of course, he's happy right now. Him lending a friend a helping hand out of their marriage ended up with him having a living girlfriend with his wife's permission. Not that he shouldn't rely on those close to him. I have mental issues myself, but it's not your or your meta's job to keep him well, especially when it's at the cost of your happiness. A good husband, partner, person would understand that, depressed or not. Also, neither of you should be playing the oppression Olympics. Not the most apt term, but you know. Don't think about who's less happy than the other. Your husband's mental health needs treatment, not another partner in a complex and unplanned living situation. At the end of the day, it's the home you share with your husband and your child. In my opinion, this should always be a two yeses, one no sort of situation. You have the right to choose who lives with you. See, that's what I was literally just about to say before I read this comment is that I think that the fact that she's saying how much his mental health has improved because there's another person in the relationship just sort of shows the state of his mental health is dependent on outside factors when the state of your mental health should always be dependent on yourself and the way that you feel because you things on the outside are never 100%. Things could change in the blink of an eye. This person could leave you or this person could die or this person could this and that and this and that. You know what I mean? Like nothing is ever 100% and things can be taken away from you in the blink of an eye. So having your depression be basically reliant or your mental health, I guess, be reliant on the fact that you have two girlfriends now or you have a wife and you have a girlfriend and that makes you happier is not right. I obviously believe that you need to work on yourself before being not even before being in a relationship, but even if you're in a relationship and you feel dependent on the other person for happiness, this is when you start working on yourself and figuring out how to be happy from within rather than looking for happiness in the outside world and through worldly things and relationships, because at the end of the day you are your foundation, and that's going to help you be happy, content in the long term, rather, because happy, you're going to be happy some days and you're going to be sad some days, but really the goal is just to be content and not like depressed. But obviously you can't always be happy as well, so there's going to be ups and downs and ebbs and flows in your mental health. But I think it's so important to recognize that this is something that he needs to work on himself, and this is something he needs to address with a therapist, that and maybe even get on some medication to help his depression, and treat his mental health first with science and psychology, and then have the relationship be a plus and something that adds on and makes him even more happy, rather than just relying on that as a whole, if that makes sense. I don't know. Okay, someone said, unfortunately, it really seems like you're at an impasse here. Have you made it clear that you're not interested in this to your husband? OP said, I have really tried, but he's very clear that this is absolutely what he has needed for a long time. Not just being poly, fine, but also us all living together. I think I've at least got across my very strong reservations, and we are now going to try putting everything we have into how we can genuinely make this work. Seeing a poly-friendly therapist together as three, as well as in our as a three, as well as in our various pairs, including me and my meta, and doing the work to find a balance of together and separate bits of life that actually works for us. And then someone said, what about your needs, though? And she said, I really want to learn to compromise. There are a lot of ways I've got my own way over the years, and it's fair that I at least give this my best shot. Someone says, but why are you the only one compromising? And then she said, I don't know. I really need to find ways to stand my ground. Everything gets turned around on me when we start talking about it, so I think I may genuinely need the therapist to help me communicate here. And then someone said, and to a deleted reply, oh, someone deleted something and then she responded, so I don't know what that first comment was, but OP responded saying she's been living here for 6 months already, since before they got together. Okay, interesting. So I think that this is I think the biggest thing here is that the husband isn't participating in this, or I guess more so she's not participating in the conversation, and he's more saying this is going to happen, this is what I need, but she is also in that partnership, so therefore she should have a say as well, and as much of a say as him, and she shouldn't just be like, well, it makes him happy. Okay, well, it doesn't make you happy 100%, so why does that mean just because it makes him happy you have to suffer? I don't think that should be the case in a relationship. Okay, so there is an update. My husband's girlfriend lives with us and they want to do this forever. Cohabitating just got harder and harder, and I was getting less and less of my husband's love, attention, and even compassion. Friend then bought a house, and husband was going to live there 2, then 3, then even 5 nights a week. Nothing I said was right anymore. I was the villain, apparently uncompassionate, selfish, a bad communicator, not seeing it from husband or friend's point of view, increasingly excluded in my own life. And surprisingly, about 6 weeks ago, husband ended our marriage, ostensibly for other reasons about our relationship, but it may surprise you not at all to learn that he is now moving in with friend in the house she has bought, and that I am not now on speaking terms with her at all, after some increasingly manipulative behavior from both of them, but especially her. See, this is why I could never be in an open relationship, because that would be my fear the whole time. And not only that, but I don't think that I'm capable of loving two people at once. And to be honest with you, I don't want my partner to be capable of loving two people at once, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? I'm not saying you can't. Obviously, you can, because I know that there are successful open relationships, but the person that I'm with, I don't want them to be loving more, like in a romantic way, more than one person. I want that because that's just how I feel, and I don't think I need an excuse for that, honestly. But I just know that on my one of my videos where I was talking about poly and open relationships, and that I just have a different opinion on it, and I just don't see them as like a super, I just don't really see how they work, okay? That's really my biggest thing. And yeah, I've never really had anyone close to me in an open relationship or experienced someone or experienced an open relationship myself. So obviously, yeah, do I have some pre what is it? Predisposed, I don't know. You know what I mean. I have some thoughts about it before knowing fully what an open relationship is about and how it can be successful. But I think that's the beauty of being an individualistic person is, you know, there's growing and learning, and maybe I'll change my mind or maybe I never will, and that's also okay because it's okay to have other opinions as long as you're not hurting other people with your opinions. So, please, if you're going to comment something about how I'm really closed-minded and I need to learn more about the open relationships and stuff, I don't know. I don't think that that makes me a bad person, or I don't think that that makes my opinion like gross or rude, or because I'm not being malicious about it. So I don't know why I feel the need to explain myself, like why I'm explaining myself. It's because I got one comment like 2 days ago and I was like, okay, there's another update. Update 9 months later. So I posted here ages ago about my husband and his girlfriend essentially putting a lot of pressure on me to be poly. It's not enough for you to want it. You have to actually want it, rather than in any way acknowledging that I didn't want it. It was bloody awful. I couldn't do it. It's not who I am, and no matter how I tried to say that they weren't having it. In the end, my husband broke up with me ostensibly not because of me not wanting to be poly, but I mean, it absolutely was that. His girlfriend is hugely manipulative and had swung him from being deeply in love with me to completely not and thinking I'm a terrible person within the space of a year. I've got my faults to be sure, but I didn't deserve any of this. I've been doing a lot of work on myself to identify and understand what happened to me and the way they abused and manipulated me. Part of me is also concerned that the girlfriend is also effectively doing the same to my ex, but that's his problem, not mine. I recently met the girlfriend's monogamous ex, and that's been eye opening. It feels like she's got a playbook. She's treated her ex badly and did similar to me and debatably to my ex. My ex has also been quite controlling over the years. I'm so much healthier out of this situation, and it's better for me. I'm heartbroken for losing what I thought was a happy marriage and for being so disillusioned about what I thought we had. This has really pulled the wool from my eyes, and it's awful being away from my very small kids half the time. I'm hyper vigilant about their welfare, and I'm so worried for them, but they seem to be okay. In short, I have to accept that some of you are happy and healthy in good poly relationships, but if that's not your experience, if it's being used by your partner or their partner to have their cake and eat it, if you're not happy, listen to your gut, to your heart, to your friends. Get out. The sooner you escape, the less I hope you might get hurt. See, that's what I'm saying. I do accept that people are in happy and healthy, good poly relationships. And I think that's amazing for you. And honestly, I commend you for it because that could just never be me. I could just never. But I know that everyone's preference is different in ways of I don't know if poly make is that like a sexuality? I don't know. I feel like it kind of is because if you prefer being with multiple people, I feel like that's almost like a sexuality, right? I don't know. Let me know. But yeah, I think that is amazing. And everyone has their preferences, and I think that's okay too. Okay, yeah. Someone said, I'm sorry you were treated that way out of curiosity when folks told you on that post that this wasn't a good idea and that your situation didn't seem healthy and sustainable. Did that help or hurt? Did you feel like all the happily polyam people telling you that this had red flags prepared you for the end? Or I ask because I want this sub to be as helpful to folks like you as possible and wonder what we could be doing better. OOP said, I think it helped. It started to validate for me that the way I was feeling was okay, that I wasn't wrong to feel like this wasn't working. What I couldn't do was address that in a way that my ex or his girlfriend would ever be equipped to listen to. They couldn't and still can't see the impact of their actions or understand that they've done anything wrong. I think Reddit posts advising caution rather than straight up leave him now were the most helpful. Those that came alongside me and engaged with what I was experiencing and feeling. So that sounds really difficult, and I'm wondering if you have realized that some of these are big red flags, such as responses that were nuanced, but nothing in The known universe is going to make someone like my ex or his girlfriend listen when they don't want to. So nothing in the comment section could have changed anything, but it did really help to feel less like I was losing my mind and less like I was on my own. Thank you. I'm glad that she got out of that and got to figure out what was best for her. And obviously, what's best for her is different for everyone. And I wonder if she would have actually been okay with it and it would have been like a fine relationship if that relationship, like, would that have been fine, or did these two truly just want to like go off on their own and be together and like slowly get her out? I wonder how that, what, like, how that would be if they, like, would they be in a poly relationship with someone else? Would the, is the husband poly? Like, do you think that he'll want to have another person in the relationship? Like to add another person after a little bit, and same with the girl, like vice versa. Do you think they'll both want to add a third person into the relationship, or is that something that like you can go back and forth with? Like, can you be monogamous if you are poly and if you prefer being with multiple people? Can you also be monogamous, or is that something that is more, I guess, no, I guess there's always spectrums of everything, so I don't think that it's really right to just put like a, put it in a box. So I think maybe I'm, yeah, I think I just answered my own question. I'm sure there are some people who just want to be poly, but then I'm sure there are also people who could be interchangeable. They could be with one person, they could be with multiple people, and so on and so forth. So I just answered my own question. Thank you, Jamie. Okay. There is another story, and this one is like really creepy, and I'm gonna say I don't even know what kind of trigger warning, but it's definitely like really weird, and I don't know. It's like trigger warning, I don't know, but it's not safe for work as well. So, the title is I, 28 female, caught my husband, 32 male, doing the most disturbing thing with a reborn doll. I feel sick. Am I the asshole for wanting to divorce him? Guys, I'm devastated. Just sitting in a hotel room contemplating every decision I've made in my life. Everything is falling apart. I can't even tell anyone what happened. I'm lost. I'm broken. I feel like the world is crashing down on me. I can't unsee what I saw. I feel like I should have never ignored my instincts. Something was always wrong. I can't shake the feeling that I let this man touch me ever. For some background, I'm 28 female. My husband is 32 male. We dated for 2 years, married for 3. I'm a nurse. He works at a tech startup. He's always wanted kids, and I've been open to the idea, but I don't express myself as super excited about it. Being a nurse, I've seen so many depressed moms who regret their decision, so I'm just cautious. But I don't mind having kids. I just don't feel that crazy mom instinct towards kids. Like a lot of my cousins say that they just want to be a mom. I just don't have that feeling yet. He's always been excited, talks about it all the time. We've been doing some tests to make sure everything's good. We've been trying, sort of. Last month was our marriage anniversary at the end of January. After dinner, he told me he had a gift for me. I was excited. I opened the box and it was so creepy. It was a realistic doll, like how a baby looks. I had no idea things like this even exist. He told me these are called reborn dolls. I was so weirded out because it's like holding a dead baby. The eyes are closed, it just felt wrong. It came with a bunch of clothes and stuff. I was just shocked why he would get this. I didn't want to be rude, so I asked, "Oh wow, what made you get this?" And he said, since I told him I don't feel like that mom vibe or anything seeing kids, he got me this doll to help me. I was so creeped out, but I didn't want to ruin the night, so I just thanked him and went to bed. Never talked about it again. A few days passed, and last Sunday, he went out with his friends. They usually drink, so it's really not uncommon. He was at his friend's place and said that he would be home late. I had work early the next day, so I went to sleep. At 4 a.m., I woke up to get ready for my shift. I went downstairs and saw him passed out on the couch. I went closer to wake him up so he wouldn't hurt his back sleeping there, and then I saw it. Next to him was his drinks, a bottle of lube, and that silicone sticky doll, without clothes, placed on his private parts. He was just laying there, passed out. My heart sank. I felt disgusted and disturbed. I quietly went upstairs, grabbed some clothes, and left. I called in sick and checked into a hotel. Now I'm sitting here, devastated. I don't know what to do. I feel sick, I don't even know who to talk to about this or who to tell. He's been calling and texting, asking why I'm not home, saying I'm overreacting. He keeps saying it's not what it looks like and that I need to give him a chance to explain. He said he was just cuddling it, but I know what I saw. He has no reason to have that doll on him, in that position, with that stuff next to him. I don't feel safe seeing him again. I don't know how to tell my friends or my family. I'm Indian, and there's going to be a lot of judgment about divorce if I even say the word divorce. My family will not hear me out. They only think divorce is justified if someone is being physically abusive. I don't even know how to explain why I don't want to be with him anymore. I feel like he's going to turn this on me, say I'm being crazy, and no one will believe me. Am I just overreacting, or am I being the asshole by not hearing him out? I know my brother and close friends will trust me, but my parents and relatives, they'll think I'm insane. I'm worried about going back home and facing him. I want to tell someone about it and want a friend or my brother to come with me if I have to go grab some more stuff from home. What should I do from here? Edit to this post. A lot of people are asking about a picture. Before leaving the house, I took a picture because I knew no one would believe me. I didn't tell him I have proof because I'm scared of him. My friends and brother will believe me regardless. It's just family that I'm worried about. So hard to bring this up to them. I can't even discuss normal topics with them due to our cultural stuff. Despite having the picture, I don't think I can show it to my parents. Second edit. Someone commented saying, "You're the asshole and a liar." My daughter has 6 of these reborn dolls. They do not have any openings where his private part could go. Get a life. I just want to add, I have no idea about any of that. Like I said, I just saw the doll naked on him. I never said what he did with it. He was most likely doing stuff to himself. People here are assuming he did stuff to it. I never touched that doll. I have no clue about openings or not. I am disturbed at the fact that he had it on him with a bottle of freaking lube next to him. Yeah, valid. Thanks. Like, who are you, commenter? Please, for the love of God. She never said any, she never even went into any details, but if that's the first thing that you're thinking, that's just honestly scary because to hear that this, no, there's no explanation for that. I don't care what he even says to make an excuse about that, but that's actually so scary. And for the love of God, like, obviously, this person should not be having kids because I'm sure that he would just do that to his kids. He wanted a kid so bad, so he got this reborn doll, which I'm not shaming anyone for having a reborn doll. I think those things are honestly kind of cool. I would never get one myself because I'd be a little bit scared, but my niece got one for Christmas one year because I don't even know why. She just wanted one. I think she was like 8 when she got it. And yeah, but like obviously if you're doing weird shit to it, then you're weird. That's really all there is to say about that situation. That's insane. And yeah, no, I don't think that you even need to explain why you don't want to be with him. I think that point blank that story in itself is an explanation because there's no need to be like I just feel like this and this and this. No. He you caught him sleeping next to a naked doll with lube. Like, that's enough for me to be out the door. Bye bye. Okay, let's read some comments. Opens Reddit, not the asshole. Scratches out eyes. Not the asshole. OMG, please, please, please leave him. Those reborn dolls are incredibly lifelike and are used for grief therapy in most cases. If anything, you're underreacting because holy shit, you need to get a divorce attorney. And when people, especially his family, asks what happened, you need to be beyond honest. He's a pedo, plain and simple. If you had a baby with him, that would have been your child. Nope, nope, nobody, nope. OMG. I'm so sorry. I'm sick to my stomach reading this. Take this major red flag and run with it straight to the divorce lawyer's office and do not keep this shit to yourself when you're in court. Someone said also he might not have kids, but he'll likely have nieces, nephews, neighbors, kids, friends, kids. He'll be all around. Stop this early, make a lot of noise so people in his life watch him like a hawk. Not the asshole. If this is real, the only thing you can do is leave him. You hinted at ignoring red flags before marriage, and this is a red flag the size of the planet. Call someone you trust that you can stay with as soon as you begin this process, and try not to worry about your parents. I get it's a culture thing, but at the same time, this is your life, not theirs. Opie said, "Thank you for saying that. I do care about my parents, but I cannot see myself live with that man being in constant fear of what he thinks or does." This was weird to me the day it happened. He doesn't like spending money on anything, so for him to spend $700 on this weird doll should have alarmed me. I think I'm going to have to tell my family it's something private and I just want a divorce without going into details. Okay, I didn't know there were $700. $700? He spent $700 on this thing? I'm so disturbed. That's so scary. I would be telling everyone because that is the most justifiable thing ever. And if you don't agree with me, you're a weirdo. If my parents were heard that story and they were like, you should not be getting divorced. He's not physically abusing you. That is not enough reason to get a divorce. Then bye bye. I mean, I know that it's a culture thing, so obviously I can't relate to that, but I would genuinely be so disturbed if someone wasn't agreeing that I should get a divorce with this man after seeing that and experiencing that. That would be the scariest thing to me. I'd be like, okay, well, I'm divorcing my husband and I'm divorcing my family as well because I cannot deal with you, genuinely. Okay, the next story is titled My husband left our 5-year-old and 9-month-old home alone and refuses to explain why. My husband is 43 and I'm 31. We've been married for 7 years and have a 5-year-old and a 9-month-old. My husband left our children alone and he refuses to admit to it or tell me where he was. I'm furious, enraged, and my husband keeps telling me I'm making a big deal about nothing. This just happened this weekend. I'm on the board of directors for a local nonprofit organization. I had to attend an event for that organization this past Saturday, and I was gone for most of the day. My husband was supposed to be home with our kids. I texted him a few times and he responded. When I called him around midday, he didn't respond, but that's not very unusual. Shortly after that, I got a call from my mom. She said my son had just called her, and when she asked him what he and his sister were doing, he said they were both watching TV. When she asked where their dad was, he said his dad wasn't there. My mom asked him several other questions, and from my son's responses, she believed that he was telling the truth and that my husband wasn't there and there was no adult there at all. She said he didn't seem scared to be alone or worries about where his dad was at. He just called her to chat. He has a tablet designed for children with pre programmed contacts that he can call. It's only a few people, just family members. I left the event immediately and began texting and calling my husband repeatedly. He didn't respond to my first several attempts. It took him about 10 minutes. I was halfway home at that point to respond. I was so confused, so worried, really mad, and I asked him where he was. He said he was at home. I told him our son had just told his grandmother that he was home alone with his baby sister watching TV about 15 minutes ago. My husband denied it, and I told him I was too upset to talk and drive. When I got home, I checked on the kids right away and they were both fine. I asked my husband again, where was he? He said he was home the entire time. He doesn't know what our son was talking about, but he must have just been confused since he had gone to the basement to do some laundry. I ran down to the basement. It was the same load of laundry I'd thrown in the dryer the night before. He didn't do any laundry when I was gone. I asked my husband why my son would be confused about whether his dad was home or not. Where in our home would he have gone, and for how long for our son to think that his dad wasn't home? That doesn't make sense with a 5-year-old and a 9-month-old. You wouldn't leave them unattended for that long. Why was he nowhere to be found? When my mom asked my son to go check certain areas of the house, I begged my husband just to admit it, to stop treating me like an idiot and stop accusing our son of lying. Just tell me the truth, because being lied to right to my face is so incredibly maddening. He insists he was home, but he can't come up with any believable story of where he was or what he was doing during that time. The way he answers when I ask him about this and demand truthful answers is so dismissive. When I tell him, you left our children alone, he quickly says, no, I didn't. So, anyway, he says I'm overreacting and letting our son's imagination drive me crazy. I'm convinced he was gone. We don't have a ring camera, but at least one of our neighbors does. I'm so upset about this that I'm tempted to ask our neighbor for the ring footage. I had to go out to my car and scream and cry because I got so upset. Of course, I didn't want my kids to see my reaction. I can't put into words how upset I am about the fact that I know he must have really left them alone, but I have no proof and I'm being treated like I'm just paranoid nutcase of a mother slash woman by him. Sounds like he was doing something not good that he doesn't want you to know about, girl. Scary, but thank God your son just so happened to call your mom at that time and say that, because clearly he didn't see anything wrong with it because he's a 5-year-old. So it's not like he's like, oh, I need to tell my mom that my dad left me. And then what was this 9-month old doing? I mean, I know 9 months old can, well, it depends because everyone has, like, every baby has different developmental stages. But when I was babysitting a 9-month old, I was a nanny for a 9-month old. She was crawling around like crazy. Like, it was a time where I had to be so vigilant because I was so scared. She was just a little tiny little baby, but she was crawling and she would crawl up on stuff. And then I would be so scared that she was going to like roll off or fall down or, I was always very, very vigilant of where she was and what she was doing. And I just feel like if I even took my eyes off of her for 1 second, like she could go down like immediately. And it was so scary because I don't know. I obviously, when it's someone else's kid, you're even more like hyper vigilant because you're responsible for that. But even for my own kid, like I would still be so nervous, but obviously like you get more used to it and you get more like accustomed to knowing what they're going to do and what their routine is. But I was so scared. So I wouldn't even go like pee. I would leave the door open to go pee so that I could have an eye on her for her crawling around because I'm not going to how do I don't understand how moms do it, but I just couldn't not look at her for 1 second because if I turned my back, she could be putting something in her mouth. She could be going up here and falling down. She could be hitting her head. Like anything could happen. So the fact that you're a dad and you leave your 9-month old, I mean, obviously it's just as bad leaving a 5-year old as well. I think that's actually so terrible and crazy that you would ever think that that was an okay thing to do. But geez, I can't even. That's crazy. Okay, let's read some comments. Get the Ring camera footage. That way you have proof either way. There is nothing wrong with getting some footage. Just tell your neighbor that a package was stolen and you just want to see if someone stole it, or you just wondered what time your husband left that day. You don't have to explain it, just get the info. That's the only way to end this dispute. You will know if he was lying, and if you can prove he is lying to you, maybe he will come clean. Even if not, you know you are not crazy, and he can't say you are. I know this is Reddit. Everyone will have their theories, but this is the only way to find the truth. Please get the Ring camera footage. What is worse than leaving so young children alone that you don't want to admit to it? Please update when you find out. Someone said I'm with everyone else that it's drugs. I was thinking that it was drugs as well because that's like something huge that you obviously you shouldn't be going and doing drugs when you're with your children. I mean, probably period, but obviously I know that some people just have problems with drugs, so that's not always the case for everyone, but at least if you're with your children and you're responsible with your children, the least that you could do is not go and get high on drugs because that's scary and you're responsible for your children, but unfortunately people still do that. Someone said it's either drugs or an affair. Also, the fact that your 5-year-old was calm and nonchalant about the situation makes me believe that he does this frequently enough that the kids are used to it. OP said, my mom said she and my son chatted for at least 5 minutes before she asked him where his dad was, and when she asked that, she still couldn't think anything was wrong. She still didn't think that anything was wrong. She was just trying to make conversation. He gave no indication that anything was wrong, and when she started asking him more questions regarding his dad's whereabouts, he didn't seem phased. That's interesting. Someone said OP said he definitely won't be left alone with them anymore unless it's a test where I'm secretly watching the entire time. Oh, that would be a good idea. I would definitely do that. I would absolutely be setting up a camera. She also said, no, I've already cried many tears over the fact that I'm married to somebody I can't trust to leave alone with my kids. Oh, that's terrible. I'm so sorry, dude. But hopefully there's answers soon. This was posted literally yesterday, 18 hours ago, so there's no update yet, but hopefully we find one or something happens where she gets some proof and that doesn't ever have to happen again because clearly there needs to be something figured out here, whether that's him doing drugs or he's cheating. Either way, he needs to fess up to whatever is happening because the safety of his children, he should care more about the safety of his children than the repercussions of his actions. I feel like, if that makes sense, you know? Because obviously, if you're an addict and you just can't help it but to go do drugs when you're watching your kids, you should probably be telling someone about that because you care about their safety, and that even if obviously you're going to be in big trouble for doing so, you should care more about your children's safety than you getting in trouble or looking bad, because obviously like you need help, but that's just a separate situation. Yeah, I don't know if that makes sense, but that's the end of the story time. I'm not doing an advice segment today, but if you ever want unprofessional advice from me, I usually do an advice segment at the end of all of my long episodes. So the link is below. It's completely anonymous. So ask me advice. I love answering your guys' advice questions. I'm just going to take a little break just for this one episode. I just wanted to kind of yap a little bit with you guys and chat a little bit with you guys, just because I was thinking today about how much I miss having like a close best friend. I have close best friends, but the thing is that my best friend like in the entire world lives in Chicago. So, and I've known her, well, we've been friends since I was in like 7th grade. So, I love her so much, and for a while I wanted to move to Chicago literally just to be close to her, but unfortunately that never happened. I honestly feel like I love Chicago, and I grew up 2.5 hours away from Chicago, so that was like a frequent place that I would go to and visit with my family, or just even with my friends, and we would go for like New Year's Eve and stuff. And I love Chicago, and I've never had a bad experience there. But like last time me and Jack went, it was his first time ever going to Chicago and my like 27th millionth time going to Chicago. And we just had like really terrible experiences. We ended up in a really bad area that was extremely scary. And then we were in a normal area and we saw someone get stabbed, and then he was bleeding out on the floor and the cops came and everything. And this was in like a nice little park that families were walking in, people, little like kids were skateboarding. It was right next, I don't know if you're familiar with Chicago, it was walking, we were walking to the Shed Aquarium, and it was in like a like greenery grass park area, and it was so fucking scary. And then one of the days we got on the subway, and of course all the subways were packed besides this one subway that was open, so we went on the open one. There happens to be a bunch of guys in ski masks yelling at each other, like threatening to kill each other, and like yelling at the top of their lungs, and we were so scared. So immediately, like, we almost missed the subway because we had to get off and go into the next train, like into the next train car, because we just got so scared. And I was like, I don't know, there was just so, I think because our trip started off so like scary, and we just encountered really, it was like that stabbing and stuff, similar things to that. I think since our trip started like that, I was hyper vigilant the whole time. So there was so many things around that scared me that I probably wouldn't have paid attention to previously. And it was like, but since I was just so already tense and anxious about everything, I was really scared. So yeah, I was like wanting to move there, and I was trying to convince Jack as well to like look for jobs there. And he was actually applying even before he visited, but then after we visited, he really didn't like it because everything that we saw, and just like we didn't really feel that safe there, and we didn't really want to have to like worry about that. And obviously, like I love Chicago, and my friend has lived there for years and years. I don't even know how long it's been. Probably 5 years now. And she loves it, and she's never really had like any terrible experiences other than someone did break into their house, and that was scary and took some things. And then her boyfriend did get robbed on the street, which is also scary, but obviously that kind of stuff can happen anywhere. And but I just also know that like being in a big city, you kind of just are subjected to a little bit more of that kind of thing. You know what I mean? So, yeah, the end of the story is that we just never ended up moving there, and I really wanted to move, but I've always wanted to live in a city as well. And so I thought that would be like a good place to go, especially because I had friends there, like her, and then multiple of my other high school friends lived there as well. So yeah. But I was just thinking today about how much I miss like having a close best friend, because for my whole life I've always had a very close best friend. So like in elementary school, I had two really close best friends, I would say. And that's like different though, because it's elementary school, and I feel like I just had a lot of friends in elementary school because everyone's kind of friends. And then in middle school, I had a really close best friend that I'm still friends with, but we live so far away. She lives in Nevada, so like obviously we still love each other, and I would literally like have her in my wedding if I were to have bridesmaids, but we don't talk as often. But then, so her, and then also my other best friend that I'm still friends with, we became friends in like seventh grade, but then we became really close in like high school more so. And then I've also told you about my other best friend that I was best friends with in high school that passed away. It sounds like I have a lot of best friends, but um yeah, so she passed away, but then I have my other friends, and I just feel like I've always been the type of person that I've been best friends, like butt buddies with someone, where I'm like inseparable with someone. And I don't know. I've just always been that way. I've always had more so like really close friendship with one or two people, like a best friendship, rather than like a huge group of friends. And just we are together every day, do everything together. We like morph into the same person, kind of. And honestly, kind of unhealthy. But I also had a best friend in college that I was friends with, that we were like butt buddies with as well. But we're not friends anymore. But I just miss being butt buddies with someone. Like, obviously, my boyfriend, but that's like a different type of relationship. Obviously, that's like an actual romantic relationship. I miss being butt buddies with my best friend. Like, I wish so bad that we lived in the same place, and I'm so sad, but she would never move here. I don't think she would ever move farther away from like our hometown than Chicago, because she visits her family a lot. And I just miss that dynamic of having someone super super close, which I'm obviously still really close with her, and I love her to death, and we talk, but sometimes we go a long time without talking, and sometimes we talk every day. And then I just haven't had that type of friendship close to me, like actually within, like not a long distance friendship, in so long, that it makes me really sad. And I don't know. I just feel like I've been in Florida for so long, and sometimes I feel like I'm wasting my time here almost. Even though I'm so young, but I still just feel like I'm wasting my time, because just I don't know, friendships, I don't know what it is, and it could be me, but I just haven't really found a lot of people that I want to be friends with. Like I have my friend from college, but we really don't hang out that much, and we have like very separate lives now. And I don't know, I think we kind of grew apart. We still talk like pretty much every day, but we only see each other once every couple months, even though she literally lives down the street from me. But she also like she works full time, and she has her life, and she has her like her work friends that she hangs out with. And then I have my life, which is just very different from hers, and I'm, you know what I mean? So I just feel like we're very different, and so we don't really have that. But I don't know. I don't know if any of that makes sense, but I think it's just getting older. Like as you get older, and you're not like in your college town, and you're not going to college, you're not going to school. It's just, for me, it's so weird that we grow up for 18, and then if you want 22 years of your life going to school, being close, surrounded with all of these people, easily being able to be like, hey, let's be friends to this person, and hey, let's be friends to this person. And then all of a sudden, obviously, like it's different for me because I work from home. I don't work at a corporation. So I am aware of the fact that if I had a job somewhere, I probably would make more friends, but I just don't have that job. And I'm like really grateful for the job that I have, but at the same time, when I did work at like this marketing agency, which was a terrible experience, and I've talked about before, but when I did work at that place, I made some really good friends, and it was really nice to have people my age around me and just like a big group of people. I don't know. I'm very social, and I'm also I'm an ambivert, I would say. I'm an introvert and an extrovert at the same time. Like there are times where I really love being inside, but I love having the company of people, and I love like, and if it means even just coming over and like watching TV and just like, I don't know, having some snacks, having, or just talking or whatever. It doesn't have to be like anything crazy, but it's like couch friends, which I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, I miss it. And I've been thinking about how I want to make more friends, but then again, like I also don't want to live here for that much longer, so I feel like I maybe, I don't know, because my boyfriend's job, obviously, like we have to live here, but if it so happened that like we could move somewhere else and he could still do his job, that would be so amazing. Because as I've said so many times, I really want to move up north, like New England area, and I just think it would be the most fun time, and I think I would really like it up there. And I feel like I do have a couple friends that live up there as well, which would be nice because then like I would have a little bit of an introduction. But I just am sick of living in Florida. I've never really, and I'm not saying that Floridian people are like bad people or anything, but I've just never really related a lot to a lot of people here, and I think that's why I've kind of struggled with want like nurturing my friendships here. I I don't know if that makes sense. I don't want to sound like I'm like think that I'm better than everyone else because I don't, but I think that I just have such a like everyone, I think California people have this way, and they probably would find it hard to get along with like certain people. Does that make sense? Because where you grow up, obviously it shapes you, and I was raised in the Midwest, so I feel like I make friends with a certain type of people that are like Midwestern. I think that sounds so stupid, but I feel like it also makes sense in a way because we can relate on like a lot of things, and I think it's just like a certain lifestyle, I guess. And I can't really pinpoint it. Like I can't be like, "Oh, I don't really relate to a lot of these people," because it's just a certain feeling that I have, and I just feel like it's not that I can't make friends. I've made a lot of friends here, but at the same time, a lot of those friends have moved away, and then I'm here, and then I don't, you know what I mean? And then I do have friends, but I also feel like since we just all live such different lives, there's time, like, we all split our time with different people, if that makes sense. I keep saying if that makes sense, but that's just, yeah, that's my brain vomit of the day. I've just been thinking about that a little bit and just kind of, I don't know, missing that like feeling of home with a friend. Even though I do have friends that I love, and I don't want to like make that feel like I don't appreciate and I'm not grateful for the friendships that I have here, because I am. It's just I'm the type of person that I like hanging out with people a lot. And I feel like getting older, people my age or whatever are more so want like not wanting to do things outside of working a lot, if that makes sense. I don't know, guys. But yeah, sorry, that might have not made sense at all, but I'm just literally talking with out of my asshole right now. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed that episode, and I love you. I love you lots, and I will talk to you guys in the next episode. Also, subscribe, comment, like, please. We have the Spotify link below and the subreddit. Please join the subreddit. We also have a Discord linked below, my vlog channel linked below, me and Sam's podcast linked below. Everything linked below. Go, 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 go. Love you. Bye. Love you guys. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.